All right, my friends, welcome to the final series to close out Group D, and it is a fight for survival. This is part of what makes Titans League so exciting. Whoever wins this play all three series is still alive in Titans League for the next season. And whoever loses, if they wish to come back, they have to fight through 4 to 5 rounds of silver again against really talented players, just like both of these guys did last month to even get here. We've got Kasva from Turkey. He's in the red, playing as the Japanese on Fractal. And then we've got the Malay for Fedex, the pro chess player from Argentina, who is, as I think, been the better player thus far in TTL. I remember games where Fedex was very close to getting victories against Dark, who's second in the group. Fedex, I think, could have won, maybe should have won 2-1. Will those throws go back to haunt him is the question. Now, big things to remind you on Fractal is players will like to chop through to the water, and both of these civs are great on water. So Fedex checking his little opening there, and he's bringing in the 2 villagers. I've noticed that Kasva's actually not headed over there, and he instead is choosing to lumber camp in the more snug and safe position in the back. Still allows him to chop to the outside, but not as conveniently as this location. I guess, like, the big question is, how much is Nilly sweating right now? Because if this is a 3-0 for either winner, Nilly's still alive, but Nilly's then pushed out of the playoffs. And the winner of this could go to 3rd place. The loser could drop all the way down to 6th place, actually, depending on how this goes. So, such crazy range in potential results here. Civ-wise, I think the Malay, they face off very nicely against the Japanese when it comes to what I've seen on this map. And a lot of what I've seen on this map is just timings. Faster Castle Age, faster Imperial Age. There's been a lot of fast imping even behind Fishboom. So I think I would prefer the Malay with that in mind. But Kasva's probably going to be the better aggressor on land throughout this series. At least on open maps such as this and how it's open through the front. So I think Japanese suits him. And I would expect Kasva to probably forget water a little bit and think more about land as this game goes on. What do I think is the better approach? I think going water initially is the better approach, and then, you know, having to prioritize the land, because the fishing economy is super important here. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this map. I hope others have as well. And it's been cool to see the consistencies in the map gen lead to different opinions on how to play it, right? Like, we've seen heavy water play. We've seen players forget water in general. We've seen more of, like, castle drop tower rush meta to deny these stones and golds. But then other players, they cut to the outside and take the stone and gold out here. Fedex clearly expects that Kasva will probably go for land presence. So he's going to wall. And I don't hate it. It is a lot of what he's investing into walling, but he's going to be through soon, and he'll be able to dock and fish, and Kasva's not really that close to doing that himself. I think Kasva still needs to cut through 3 trees. So we'll see. Kasva's got the barracks up already, so clearly he's going to go aggressive. And Fedex doesn't exactly see that, but I think he's done his homework and knows what to expect. I had other things to say about this series. Oh, I did ask Nilly if he wanted to cast this together. I thought it'd be really funny if, he was casting this with me, because he's obviously got huge interest in it. He also beat both of these players 2-1 throughout his group. So, he has some information on them possibly he could share. But he said he was busy, and oh God, can you imagine how funny it would have been? Like, game 1, nice little cast, we're having a good time. Game 2, the score's 2-0 for one of these guys. And then Nilly's like sweating. No, that would have been a good time. And very ambitious walling here from Fedex. I mean, this is a lot of walling. And Kasva might assume this is just full walled. He just saw this and is moving along. It is not full walled. It is far from full walled for Fedex, who still isn't clicked up, but now he clicks up. And he is docking. But he is docking, and he is dock blocking, as we say. So he has blocked this area, so Kasva's not able to be able to kill this fish, at least initially, and he's going to probably fish this direction. So My issue with Kasva and TTL is I think he's been a little under-prepped for some of the maps. My issue with Fedex, I think his initial strategy's been quite strong, but he's never really been able to finish players off when he gets a winning position. And I think for Kasva, the initial strategy is lacked, and I think for Fedex, maybe the execution is lacked. I'm just trying to break down kind of what I consider to be the differences between the two. Loser is out, though, of TTL. They would be kicked out, relegated. And I can't really disagree with how the opening has gone for Kasva thus far. Kasva probably really wants the Man-at-Arm upgrade. But he's going to turn this into a tower rush. And I think he should just shift over maybe and attack this house. And he's going to break through these walls pretty quickly with the tower and then the Japanese infantry. I guess maybe this tower can hit this villager, in which case staying on this house is fine. And yep, Kasva could kill that Vil. And behind this, Fedex has to prep more walls. But Fedex isn't feudal, so Fedex will look towards an archer range. Keep in mind, he's got 2 fishing ships. It's nothing crazy, but it's more than what Kasva has at the moment. And you can't go much further if you're Kasva at the moment. There is a hole here, which Fedex has the time to place a house, and he's now done. And this is the type of play that can frustrate you a little bit if you're Kasva. Because you're not on the outside yet. It might make you think about it. And Kasva has to be careful. He's brought the Vil. But Fedex, I think, was aiming to wall this up. Let's see. I don't know. Is he clicking her? Is she... Oh, she's dock blocking it. Interesting. By the way, Kasva just taking his time taking out houses at the moment. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal if that dock were to go up. But it's been spotted, and Kasva walls it. And I think Fedex is going to lose this villager. Honestly, I think just Oh! There's another one. Oh! Kasva thought about it, and he's like, okay, you're trapped now. That was a unique situation. That was really funny. I love the obvious hesitation where all the villagers were like, wait, what does that mean for us? Oh, man, but Fedex is actually going to place a dock there, so he deleted his own wall, can place his own dock. What a funny moment. Love this from Kasva. He's walled in his tower, and he's going to, well, he has to finish this tower first, ideally, but he's going to apply more pressure on this side, where Fedex is dropping a tower and it still just really hasn't moved around much. Kasva also still hasn't dropped the dock there. This is really intense stuff at the moment. Fractal is really awkward to play, but I'm liking how Kasva is invested so much into his farming eco. And I think the key for him will be to continue to do that, and trying to catch up on water will be a little bit difficult. So Kasva's vision doesn't show everything, but he should catch if Fedex ever deleted some walls and tried to go for a counterattack. But I was thinking that might be something Fedex might want to consider here. God, this eco balance for Fedex, the lack of food for Fedex is a real issue. 2 minutes of idle TC time. That is not good. And here this galley will probably kill this villager for Kasva, but I'm worried for Fedex. Like, he doesn't have berries, and Kasva's almost finished his berries. He hasn't made a mill, so he can't make farms. You know, he's not going to stop this tower. And this tower could actually do quite a bit of damage against his archers here. It doesn't seem like Fedex has it all together at the moment. Kills the Vil. Maybe the water can pay off. Maybe the market could pay off, but he can't build a market until he makes a mill. And if you look at the res collected right now, Fedex has still somehow collected more because of the tons of wood that he has brought in this far. He's got a whole village just dedicated to wood at the moment. You know, as I say everything I just said, someone says he has a mill. Did I miss it? I'm probably blind. Everything I just said, I want to take back because I was just going based on the amount that players had on food. But Kasva's finished with his berries, and he's got just 4 on food, and he has no fishing ships. And Fedex has 6 fishing ships. He's winning on water here. He's got fish over here. He's still adding more. And yeah, I mean, it looked awkward for a minute, but honestly, the more I assess the situation, the more I do think Fedex may be in the better position here. Middle of the screen, between the towers. Oh, this mill. Okay, the one that's being shot by the tower. Got it. Fletching's coming in now for Fedex, who just put his archers inside the tower. And Kasva's desperate. This is like, you know the let me in meme? You guys have to know the let me in meme, right? That's exactly what's happening here. Kasva's like, let me in! It's really uncomfortable for players who play a lot of Arabia. Because they just want to fight. They're like, come on, come out from behind your walls and attack me, you coward. That's kind of the feeling of it sometimes. And I've even heard people say it, but they haven't said it so kindly. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't feel like it's going to do that much for Fedex. There's not a lot stopping Fedex as long as he drops off the wood from just making a new lumber camp. And he is officially chopped through to his side, too. Over here, an important moment's coming because Kasva is making a demo. And what he'll do here is he'll send a fire out to attract all the attention from the groups of fires that are currently split up. And that way his demo can land a better shot. He'll do it soon. There's the new lumber camp for Fedex. He really needs to put his archers inside of this tower now to shoot that back. But he's not thinking about it. Kasva makes a new lumber camp so he doesn't lose that repair villager. This is the moment. Oh, God. Oh, God. He screwed himself over. His own demo was trapped. The timing on that was actually brutal. It almost seems like he didn't calculate it. He didn't plan it. And, oh, God, the demo again. I don't know what's going on with the rally points. But that was not what Kasva wanted. I think Fedex will still be okay on water. And the food count for Kasva is just horrible. And the food count is climbing for Fedex now. And what a big moment for Fedex. I said yesterday that if anyone was going to 3-0 in this series, it would be Fedex. I may have said that at the start of the cast as well. But I think Graveyards, Kasva's home map, is going to be a tough one for Fedex. Because Kasva's really good on those open maps. Yeah, I think it was just the dock HP that went down too low. And then all the ships popped out there for Kasva. And he must not have had a rally point set at all. What confused me is where the demo went. You think it would have maybe gone to the front. Anyways, Kasva's still trying to be stubborn here. But look at the resources for Fedex. Guys, Fedex is clicked up. Kasva has 200 food. And Fedex has collected so much more in the way of resources here. This is beautiful. That's confusing for you because they have the similar amounts of villagers. Look at the amount of villagers Fedex has on food right now. None, right? So his villagers are heavy priority on everything else. And Kasva, he has to have food villagers. This is just because of the lack of fishing ships, obviously, right? And when you're in Castle Age, if you can upgrade your navy, you probably will just fully control the water here. And you could probably fully control the lands pretty soon as well. Kasva might feel like he's out of luck when he sees the Castle Age time from Fedex. And it was all at the start. Fedex wanted to chop through. I'm not sure where these archers are going. Fedex wanted to chop through, and Kasva, he wanted to pressure the land. And water has been the most important area of this map, I feel, in most of the games I've seen. Castle Age is in. Kasva hasn't clicked. And he should still fight. He should still play on here. This is such an important series for him. Man, the potential for Fedex with this faster Castle Age is ridiculous, though. So at a Siege Workshop. Kasva's actually going to dive here. Kind of interesting. Fedex is going to quick wall it. There's still a hole. Okay, I like how Fedex, or how Kasva is desperate, and he's trying to make something happen. It's been a little unconvincing thus far from Fedex. Like, no Bodkin arrow was a bit of a surprise to me. Okay, repairing. Scouts here. Archer's gonna go down. Kasva, okay. No War Galley upgrade either from the Argentinian. But he will have 2 towers. He will garrison these towers. They will be in range of Kasva's tower. And then he also has the siege. And he also is getting gill nets for his fishing ships. And still should have a massive lead here. This has to repair this tower and hop inside, though. Over here, I think this is going to be the end of the water control for Kasva. He's still trying. He's still being really stubborn. I like how he's not giving up on it. This is where a counterattack would just kill Kasva. Like, right? If these archers were spent time forward, Kasva's dead. Fedex, not comfortable doing that. He wants to prioritize the economy first, as arena players often do, and he doesn't have the War Galley upgrade yet. Kasva's holding on. Here you see the TC as the decision for Fedex to take some of that stone and gold. You can't blame him for that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But just things to think about here. Need to see that War Galley upgrade to upgrade your ships if you're Fedex, I think. Because that might be one of the first things Kasva prioritizes. The Scorpion's getting repaired. Archers are kind of chasing. Starting Scout, which has been kept alive this whole time, is moving out. Fedex hasn't even seen Kasva's base. I mean, which I just realized. He hasn't really seen much over here. But will he need to? The archers are still finding some decent value. The tower may end up going down. The TC's up. God, this is messy. We've got +2 armor coming in for Kasva. He lost those 2 vills. Kasva's going to be going for knights. As much as the eco is still there for Fedex, I've seen enough where I believe that he could possibly lose from this position. The crossbow upgrade was late. He doesn't have any monks yet for knights. Like, he doesn't have scouting on the fact his opponent may go knights. He hasn't completely won water yet. I think if Kasva gets good engagements with his fires and gets good engagement with his knights, possibly at the same time, he could make this happen. But he needs to do some damage fast, and he needs to make sure those knights find some value here. Fedex has the eco lead, and now he should know I need monks. Something he's very comfortable controlling, and he quickly walls. He walls it all and falls back behind his TC here. But dicey times, right? Didn't foresee that as a possibility. Gives Kasva a bit of initiative. This is where a player like Fedex will struggle. He gets the position, but can he finish it? He has had leads in Titans League against better players than Kasva, against Dark. And then this type of thing happens. This could be a trap. Huh! Huh! Oh, man, those knights... Well, oh, they're still going to get through! There's still a hole! Oh, no! This could be so bad! He has nothing back here! Disaster for Fedex! Holy houses! He's never going to get housed again! Disaster! Oh, no! No! Kasva's in it, guys. Kasva's in it. Fedex is panicking. He's got to bring monks through. He's making spears. Oh, God. His eco's a wreck. Oh. In such an important game. And we've all been there. We've all gotten frustrated. So imagine the frustration and how you're like, I should have this game. This should not be happening. Actually, that was very well played. I thought he would have killed more of his own villagers. But, Kasva's still in the game. Kasva's got nice farming eco now. Kasva's going to push with his own siege. And all of a sudden, because of this big mess that Fedex has to deal with, this becomes a game where Kasva's gained a little bit of momentum. Fedex has not been able to send these villagers back to work. These villagers back to work. These villagers back to work. It's been bad. But he gets the kill he wants. And, oh my God, this idle time Fedex. I feel, oh God, he's so stressed. Idols inside the town center. Idols everywhere. And meanwhile, he's actually clicked this dock a long time ago. Demo lands, though. That's nice. Had it not been for that demo, he might have lost all of his ships there. Always a messy map. This map is very difficult to play. But I think with this TC now being denied, even with the idols that Fedex has at the moment, Fedex has the better position. He's hoping for conversions with his monks. He'd got one a moment ago, so the monk doesn't have faith. The siege is being picked up by Kasva. Kasva completes the TC. Kasva kills the monk, and Kasva's like, I'm going to try this again. And he just clicks the knights back there and is hoping they can take the same path as they did last time. Past the, past the towers, past the spearmen, into the back of the eco. And he actually made it back there with one. Guys, Kasva's going to win this game. Kasva's going to win this game. This is so messy from both. Like, both players have had games that are 10 times better than this. Kasva's going to win this game. He's got momentum. Towers, siege, on stone and gold. Fedex is panicked. Fedex doesn't have, like, that good of food eco. He hasn't gone to this gold yet. Sorry for clicking too much. I think Kasva, he's got more realistic army comp. Fedex is just falling apart. The tower's not going to work. And it's the same issue that the poor guy had in some of his previous sets. And Fedex is Kasva's a fighter. He will not give up when he's behind. He will claw his way back into games. And it's happening here. The tower is going to help against the spears, and Kasva continues to focus down the villas, and the eco count is now in the mid-60s for both. Oh, jeez. 3 mangonels for Kasva, soon about to be 4. And it's a painful situation right now if you're Fedex. Oh, I've been there, too. I've been there. I've thrown games where the strategy has been correct, and it will snowball on you hard throughout a series. Another big shot there from Kasva. Kasva's put all of his micro on this. Producing out of this town center. Producing out of this town center. Could go to a third TC. Kasva really starting to feel it right now. Feel the groove. And the micro, there's a 1-for-1, but the micro has been really consistent from Kasva on the front. And there's a flow to the game now for him. There's still no real flow for Fedex, who doesn't have lots of gold right now. He doesn't have enough stone for a castle. He loses his mangonel. He'll lose villagers making a new siege workshop here. Oh, what are we witnessing here? What is this? Random blob with random group of units. And here comes Kasva for a castle. If the castle's up, this is game over. I don't think there's any way to stop Kasva's push if this castle goes down. And I'm pretty sure Fedex knows it, so he's hoping to stop this. He does take out 2 mangonels over the last couple moments. But once the castle's up, your TC will be pushed and your TC will be lost. The good news right now for Fedex is this tells you just... This is like a weird green and yellow diseased little appendage you've got. Cut it off, forget about it, all right? You expand down here now. That's how you win this game. You leave. Something he did a good job of is he's been placing fish traps. So, like, forgetting about that isn't something he's done. And res collected, I mean, up to this point, it's getting closer. But he still has, what is it? 66 villagers versus the 75 from Kasva. That's okay. I think civ-wise, the Malay are superior to the Japanese from here on out. The Japanese only get worse with their knights from here on out as well. So him losing that position to a castle isn't the worst thing, and maybe he can get back with it. We'll see what Kasva chooses to do. Kasva, he's going to just click some knights in here again. It's such a good decision. It worked once, it might work again. And Fedex is going to have to house wall this. And he actually gets the walls down. So the knights now are kind of trapped in there. Fedex gets a big shot. Can Fedex get the position right? Fedex gets another big shot. Fedex back in the game. I thought he would crumble. But he's still in it. This series matters for so much for both. No sanctity on the monks yet. The scout from Kasva now kills all 3 monks. Or 2. And then Fedex with some sick micro here. And an assist from the villager is going to kill the mangonel. Boink. What is this game? This game is insane. This game is insane. It's so intense, man. It is so intense. Holy cow. 1 for 1. Dang. Oh, and both players need it so badly. You can tell they want it so badly. You can tell the nerves are affecting both of them at various times. You know, the spears for Fedex are out. So Kasva's now going to even mix in some samurai, but holy cow. I mean, still it feels like it could go swing either way. The resources for Fedex are looking really good. Kasva has enough stone for 2 more castles. And he's going to place the second one now. And, I mean, that castle will shoot down this TC. So that's going to be 2 of the 3 TCs that Fedex has gone. Fedex isn't able to add farms right now. He's just not able to think about it. Remember, losers out of TTL. Fedex's idle time is over 5 hours. That is a pretty high number for a 44-minute game. Kasva also can make another castle to really assert his dominance, and that will not stop because he can still mine more stone and more gold here. Now, Kasva's making a move here. He's going to drop a castle, and Fedex is going to see this castle. You can't make it up. You can't make this game up. You couldn't script it. He actually sees the castle. So, Fedex actually is going to get all of this gold and all this stone, and he's going to wall it up. He's like, keep the knights out. We know they're bad for us. And there he drops the TC. And if he gets the walls down in time, then Kasva's going to have to decide between pushing the TCs or pushing this area. Great wall timing. And actually, converting a knight means he can take out the mangonels. Which he's going to try and do. What the crap is happening, man? This only happens in the final week, guys. This does not happen in the first, second, or third week. No, this is a final week game where both players know that they need to win and the stakes are high. That is what we are seeing. This is awesome. Also, probably doesn't happen with top 10 players, right? This happens with the guys who are trying to make a name for themselves, trying to make progress, trying to get, you know, up to that next level. Now, Fedex is going to click Imp, guys. Fedex will click Imp, random Kasva villagers just walking by. And which TC is the Imp TC? This one. Okay, I forgot this TC existed. So he's going to rush to Imp. He does not have a castle. If he could make petards, or not petards, Kasva's making petards. That was the next on my list to say. If he could make trebs, he could treb down these castles. But I don't know exactly where he would go. I mean, this is where the petards are going to go, which is going to open this up, and Kasva's just going to all in that. Meanwhile, he's got Samurai running in, and yeah, Fedex, I mean, you're going Imp into some of these people who are watching's favorite strategy, Imp into GG, basically. If you had a castle, it's different, and I'm sure he's going to try and build up towards it. I mean, Imp into crossbow isn't bad, though. I shouldn't say Imp into GG. That's a little unfair. Imp into Arbalest is a good thing. But he hardly has the resources to mass crossbowman right now. And here comes Kasva with the next wave. Now, Kasva's out of stone, which is kind of funny. I think he could mine stone there, though. He could steal the stone that he castled earlier. And I'm sure Kasva's going to panic when he sees his opponents in Imp. But this is a Omega push. And he's got petards for the TC as well. Excuse me. Nice shot from Fedex. Okay, Samurai will go in for that mango. Petards are just chilling, just passing, just hanging out. Petards hit the TC, as one might expect a petard to do. And Kasva is going to not only have to destroy the TC, but the castle that is going up behind the TC that was just petarded. You know, everything is normal here. This castle could be denied, guys. It should be denied. It's at 60%. Fedex needs it to go up. The villagers are on the wrong side of the castle, and the samurai are going to slice, and they're going to dice, and they're going to deny this castle. And if it's denied, it is probably GG. Wow. what a ridiculous game. And a game that Kasva just maybe shouldn't have won. But you know what Kasva did, right? Because there's optimization. There's, all right, this is the right strategy. This is the right position. There's all of those things that you think about throughout a game. But when the emotions are high and it's messy, you just have to be aggressive. You have to try and make something happen. And, you know, the real key for me, as we quickly just glance through the resources collected, Kasva actually somehow collected more. The real key for me is just the approach of the whole game, right? Kasva opens up feudal. Aggression. Fedex is defense first, aggression later. And there was a moment where I felt he needed to use that aggression, and that was in 23-26. 23-26, you'll see his very first decision was, well, I guess actually it took him quite a bit of time, right? Even still doesn't have a tool to push this back. But I was just thinking this, right? Aggression and like getting army out into the field, finding the opponent, it wasn't at the forefront of Fedex's mind. He was going to get there. He had resources collected, but he wasn't really able to get the balance right. And so, you know, the aggression paid off. Honestly, what started the ball rolling was this slalom. Where are the knights here? It was the most ridiculous little slalom you'll ever see. Okay, the knights came out. And I want to go back here. Okay, this stage of the game, we're thinking Kasva is going to lose, right? I want to watch, from his point of view, what he does. Okay, so he sees the mangonels, he sees the crossbows. So many players just fall back there and wait. And Kasva just goes, well, I could do that. Or in a game I'm really far behind in, I just try something, you know? Let's just see. I click them in there. I do this. He's, you know, changing some decisions here. And he okay, house walling there from Fedex. And then these three knights make it back here. Fedex is still trying to sort out the mess that is his economy on the front. And then Fedex can't sort out the economy on the front or think about the army or do whatever else because he has the quick wall here. That's what started it. This is the type of thing. Fedex reacts. Kasva sends forward the next wave. And the snowball continues, and that cycle continues. Another game for Fedex where he gets winning positions. He just can't close it out. I actually think, like, Fedex is not a really slow player. I don't think he's that slow. I mean, Kasva's relatively slow compared to most pros, I suppose. But I think the good news for Fedex, even though he's a bit older and whatnot, and, you know, players in gold might not necessarily think they've got this big, illustrious career ahead of them. I don't know how much they're going to grind. Fedex can fix those problems. He can get winning positions. Getting the winning positions in the initial strategy is one of the hardest things. But Kasva has the ability to bring games back like many other players do not in this game. So, big win there. Fedex needs to win 2 straight. Otherwise, he's relegated out of gold for the next season. Kasva needs 1 more win, and then he is alive come gold the next season. And if Kasva gets 2 more wins, Kasva actually moves his way towards the playoffs and surpasses Nili in the rankings. So after a ridiculous comeback from Kasva, who's now in the red, we had to switch the colors. Kasva now hopes to get another win to keep himself alive, or potentially 2 more wins to push himself into the playoffs here in Titans League Gold. This will close out Group D. And Nili has never been a bigger fan of Fedex in this moment. I know Nili may be watching out there or following the results. Nili's just refreshing his phone wherever he is. He could be at like a family dinner, you know? Bunch of like, you know, aunts and uncles he hasn't seen in a long time. He's probably just looking down constantly, refreshing his phone. Who's winning this series? Kasva just won 1-0? Okay, vamos. Fedex, let's go. I'm sure he's a very big Fedex fan. Because Fedex just needs to tie it up, and then Nili's into 3rd place, and he can prepare for the playoffs. Fedex has gone for the Vietnamese, and Fedex has chosen a map where his maybe lack of initiative is not as big a concern for him. He's gone for a good late game civ in the Vietnamese. The map is then Hideout, where he has palisade walls. And Kasva's gone for the Byzantines, and Byzantines is arguably, maybe it's not even arguable. Who do you guys think is the better late game civilization? I think Byzantines might actually be the preferred option. But Vietnamese and Byzantines both might be top 5 in late game civilizations on hideout or arena style maps in Age of Empires 2. I think for hideout, there's like a slight tweak there. Arena, the fighting is more towards the middle of the map, which I think can kind of change how things play out. So we'll see what the approach is. Kasva, I know him well, and I know that he does not like this map. He does not like closed maps. So hideout does give you that option to pressure. But you also may choose, being Byzantines, to not try and apply pressure and just try and wait till the late game where he could thrive. We could see skirmisher v skirmisher for 16 and a half hours in this game. I'm hoping it's more like 2.5. Even that would be a stretch, but yeah, we have the Imperial skirmishers versus the cheap skirmishers. Which would you prefer? As always, the answer is it depends. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. Small things, because I expect it to go late, would be the neutral gold positions. There's a 3-tile gold, 3-tile stone here. Then for Kasva, he's got a 3-tile gold, 3-tile stone here. I think both of these stones, I mean, they're neutral res. They're never really assigned to a player. I think the way the generation works is it's supposed to be like kind of in the middle of the players, and maybe sometimes one is here and one is here. But I guess if you look at these two stones and then you look at the relics, they do slightly favor Fedex. But this is the closest path for both players to each other. And honestly, whoever just controls this area initially in early Imperial Age, which I would probably argue Byzantines could because of the faster Imperial Age, they then control, the stones, the golds, the relics. So, yeah, we'll see. And Kasva only 3 on wood thus far, which could indicate a feudal age build. And I think the 4 on wood from Fedex is going to be fine. And I think Fedex, he plays hideout enough. He's probably been up against a lot of players who like to play open maps and pressure him. So I think that he's probably used to surviving if he gets pressured. So I would say just go Castle Age is my guess for Fedex. Imp Skirms, Winged Hussars. When do we get the Imp Pointy Boys? Halbs are already really good. I don't think we need an Imperial Age Halberdier. All right, Loom for Kasva. Loom indicates he's going to go forward, and Kasva clicks up. Knowing Fedex, if there is any threat with this push that's about to come in, if he's actually concerned about it, which he may or may not be, he may just get his wood upgrade, get his farm upgrade, and stay feudal. Some players make the mistake of still trying to just squeeze by to Castle Age. Ultimately, I think it's a preference thing. Like a player like John Slow, for example, who's way more extreme than Fedex and is a bit lower ranked, but still high level. He's more of the extreme. He might be like, all right, I need to get to Castle Age anyways. Let's see what happens. This is a 24 pop click up. This is really fast. I don't think there's a world where he could actually fast castle off of this anyways. And this is the area we talked about with the extra stones, golds, relic, whatever, and Kasva's going to build a building there. He's brought 5 vills. Wow, that's a bit uncommon. Typically we see 4, but not that big a deal, obviously. Does he just start with skirms? Feels like a trash rush to me. Could be a stable to go for a scout or two. All right, here we go. Now Fedex will see his opponents in feudal. And he's just going to try and push in this last deer. He doesn't see the rush yet. If he needs to make the informed decision here, ideally he would see whatever Kasva's doing before he hits feudal here. Pushes in his final deer. Because you're going to make your buildings, decide how you want to build up towards castle or not build up towards castle based on what you see. So now he sees it. All right. Now, Loom is in queue for Fedex, but it's in queue after the first Vill. But I guess it's just skirms. And Fedex sends the Vills. Oh, God! They're not looms. And there's a lot of stuff here. Loom isn't in yet. If they were loomed, they'd be fine. This house needs to be built as well, Fedex. Fedex, 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 Fedex. Oh, God, Nilly's screaming somewhere. Oh, God, do you hear it? Do you hear the 9? Oh, God. I think he could have kept him out. But Fedex's aggression keeps finding a way. Sorry, Kasva's aggression keeps finding a way. I was incorrect. Fedex is going to go castle. But, guys, he's queued Castle Age behind a Vill. You need to cancel that Vill. The panic is in for Fedex. You could see all the Tourney nerves coming out right now. And he drops a defensive tower, which, of course, means if he makes to the next stage, he can't boot. So I think the next plan is just don't die. Don't fall behind. Don't lose Vills. When you're in castle, then you... Oh, this is ambitious. When you're in castle, then you go for a siege workshop and try and siege push. The tower gets garrisoned. Kasva would like to escape this land. And he is going to leave. Or at least he will make sure that that can't be walled up. And KD's 1-0. Fedex got 1 kill. It was just against the skirmisher. And behind this, the eco is looking pretty good for Kasva, but I'm not the most impressed. It could be better. You could tell he's looked a lot at the pressure on the front. Byzantine Tower does have the edge with HP, which has actually paid off a lot here because there's only 3 villagers in there for Kasva. And Kasva still has the lead with the HP. Neither player's actually gone to stone, which would make sense for Fedex because he might consider his vills exposed here, but a little surprising for the player that actually chose to tower rush. And Kasva's just going to repair it, garrison. And I think for Kasva, at this point, he just adapts. Like, you make it messy for the player who likes closed maps. You've now got some buildings here. You know, you've ruined the initial plan from your opponent. And then you just choose a game plan from here. I think that's completely fine outlook. I have been known to tower rush quite a few closed map players myself. Kasva's realizing I might actually need stone, though. And Fedex makes it to Castle Age sub 15 minutes. And he adds a siege workshop. Fedex is fine. The thing that would hurt for Fedex is if he, didn't get any eco upgrades at this point. It would really hurt if this tower does a lot more to him. I think he should have the res to make the mangonel right away. And he should be in a position to keep his tower up and firing on this. And then Kasva's villagers are exposed. Also, a slight detail, the scout for Fedex is still strong, so he could maybe run out at some point and kill some villagers. But Fedex loses a vill there to the tower. This seems like the exact sort of thing which Fedex dies to. I think he'd be surprised how frequently he's run into it. Hideout is a ladder map, so this happens a lot in ranked. And Kasva just knows, I need to run with my vills now. And now he's got some decisions. So, you could wall this. I actually love stonewalling this. You could then loop another villager to the other side and stonewall here. I think looping the villager to the other side's a little ambitious. But knowing Fedex, all he wants is he wants you out of his base. He will let you do whatever you want with the rest of your vills. And he will opt for that second TC. He bought the stone there for a reason. He just wants to boom. This will still go late game. And if Fedex is faster to the second town center, which he definitely will be, that villager he lost isn't that big a deal. And I think I would prefer Fedex's position economically. Like, what I feel is very strong with the tower rush is you make a tower that forces your opponent into their own, which Kasva did. And then you leave that position and you're towering elsewhere to deny other resources. And they can't contest your towers at all because they don't have the stone. Kasva didn't do that. Like, that was the kind of the weird part about his play. So, anyways, here comes the scout now from Fedex. And he's going to scout the map. And again, he's been here before. He adds the third TC. He got his wood upgrade. And he's going to have a massive eco lead on Kasva here. Kasva also no horse color is really weird. It's surprising. You know, this is the 5th week. I do feel as though, and I thought the same about Kasva actually in the qualification in silver. I didn't feel like he's a guy who really practiced any of the maps or really looked at the map scripts. But he's an instinctual player. He's got really good ability to be aggressive and make games messy, which we saw in game number 1. But like, just some aspects of Kasva's play, it doesn't leave me thinking that he's that sharp. I think what he's good at and what he's been able to do well is squeaking out some wins when maybe he falls behind, and particularly against some of the names that he's been up against. But like, guys, there's so many different things right now. We've got 2 more games left in this group. It's obviously the games right here. Fedex wins this game, then Nilly's confirmed 3rd. Whippy, real excited for him. But if Fedex then wins this game, we go to a 3rd game, and it's do or die. Which is nuts. And what do we say? Advantage Kasva then? Because it's on Kasva's home map? Probably. Anyways, Eco counts 50 against the 40 for Kasva. I love the Scout Edition from Kasva, though. I didn't realize he was doing it until now, and Fedex is going to see this. And he might not be too happy about that. That shows that his opponent's just prioritizing that map control and that vision and the relics. So this is my favorite thing about what Kasva has done thus far. Because if you just delay the game, stall out the game, snag a few relics, it's probably going late anyways. That could pay off in the long run. Kind of punishes the boom style, because the boom style, they don't add the barracks. They don't add the stable. They just add those town centers. Also love the vision you get from Byzantines here. He's scouted a lot of the map, and you can really start to think about how you want to play this when you are as blah 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 blah. Sorry, when you are as informed as Kasva is right now. Res collected, pretty close. But Fedex is ahead. And he's ahead in the resources that would take one to Imp. Which, again, is just so fascinating, because Imp is cheaper for Byzantine, so Kasva might not even need that much. Early handcart. I love that. Handcart researches pretty quickly anyways, but now that the Vietnamese eco upgrades research like 100% faster, I like that even more. Alright, so Kasva looking around. He does have monks on the field. Snagging this relic makes sense. This was the one that was in neutral territory. Keeping an eye on this one. He's actually going to bring Spearman over. Still looking at that relic. Fedex has his scout on this relic, which is kind of fun. Also, it looks like a skirm got mauled by tigers. Ripped to them. Or him, or whatever. I don't know what it was. Spearman's headed over. This is probably just on patrol for Fedex, but no, he noticed it. He's actually manually controlling that. And he's going to add a stable of his own. That's a market for Kasva, which could indicate he wants to go forward here. And with the villagers on stone, I could see him maybe wanting to come this way and drop a castle. Kasva sees the weak scout, pulls his scout away because the spearman shows up. So, oh, mistake. HP is much closer now in the scouts, but still better for Kasva. And TC number 4 for Fedex. Normally, I'd say you could potentially overboom with 4 TCs. I don't think either of these guys have an insane ability for the very well-timed early imp plays. So I think the greed is worth it here. I think it's going to be a late, messy, scrappy game regardless. But it does run that risk that if you spend too much food on villagers, that your imp will be delayed. It certainly, as I say, it doesn't look like he's going to run that risk, though, with the res he has right now. And the scout from Fedex kills the monk. That's so good. That is so good. And now another monk, another old man's going to have them make a run for it. And here comes Kasva. And Kasva's imping. So Kasva wants the faster imp, but Fedex imps as well. And I think the eco difference will climb for Fedex. Because there's 4 TCs. 1 is imping. 3 are producing vills. For Fedex, for Kasva, he actually got housed. But, you know, 1 was researching wheel. The other one's imping, and then the other one was producing vills. So you could see he's starting to fall a bit further behind. But there's all this stone here. And it's faster to trebuchets. And it's Byzantines. Kasva's little scout. Even the scout here just being real annoying to Fedex. And remember how Fedex really crumbled under pressure in the previous game. And look at Kasva's micro. Doink! Gets the mango. Keeps the scout alive. No, he doesn't. No, yes, he does. No, he doesn't. And, you know, Fedex doesn't know that this castle's up as well, which might affect some of his decisions. Well, now he knows, because the castle's shooting the house, which, of course, Kasva can do nothing about. I'm curious on the stone miners. I'm really going to keep an eye on that for Fedex. I'm still not sure what his army comp's going to be. 2 relics for Kasva? I think it should be 3, because this relic's pretty close. And we see Pikeman as the choice for Fedex. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking skirms the whole way here, right? Neither Civ is insane, Cav. I mean, Cataphracts would have something to say about that, but forward castle doesn't indicate Cataphract. It indicates Trebs. Chemistry first thing for Kasva. We'll probably see a workshop on the front so he can add bomber cannons. And onager from Fedex. What if he onages through? There's nothing here for Kasva. Oh, boy. And Fedex can see the vills. People, if he starts to fall behind, he has a tool now to enter the opponent's base. Would love to see chemistry, though, because Vietnamese also get bomber cannon. It feels like a missing step. But he hasn't clicked it yet. He wants to go Halb, Onager. He's going to lose grounds here. It's kind of interesting. He's not going to lose the Onager upgrade. That's what Kasva's focused his Trebs on. Onager's also really good against skirms. Can struggle against bomber cannons, but we don't see bomber cannons yet from Kasva. Not many blacksmith upgrades coming in for Fedex. And Fedex is just going to use his Treb versus the Treb from Kasva. And Kasva's just like, get rid of that siege workshop. Because he thinks bomber cannons. It's going to be scrappy. It's going to be messy. Kasva wants to make the great house wall. On this side, I would much prefer stone walls, but I guess house wall still accomplishes the same. And no bomber cannon yet for Kasva, just Trebs taking out houses, taking out buildings. Here comes the Onager cut from Fedex. Kasva could see this if he's looking for it. And this might lead to him panicking. I'm sure he wants his next castle to be forward. But if he sees this castle's here, and then he sees an Onager cut coming through, he might not comfortably want to place a castle forward. He might place one defensively. Kasva doesn't see this. This comes at a risk for Fedex because Fedex has not addressed the problems in his base yet. And he's going to drop a castle there! Ah! Surprise! We've seen people tower the wood line. Fedex is castling the wood line. He's inside. He's just a much bigger, more scary tree now. But, like, how do you stop the Trebs, bro? You gotta stop the Trebs from taking out your castle. Fedex, you know, isn't making his own Treb just yet. So, I mean, this is messy. Now, here come the Halbs. It feels like a big surprise moment. Like, Fedex has been holding on to this. Like, he's been waiting for his moment. Kasva's still expecting bomber cannons. He's getting redemption now for monks, which could be useful. No trebuchet from Kasva here yet. He actually doesn't have the wood, which is crazy, actually, because look at him reposition his lumber economy. He can't defend himself because of no wood. We've got supplies right now for Fedex thinking about champion. He's lost his trebuchet there. But he does have a Treb to treb Kasva's castle, and he can also run in with halves if he wishes to. It's just such a weird game at the moment where both players have big aspects of their eco disrupted. Kasva because of the cut here from Fedex, and then Fedex from the treb skirm pike push from Kasva. But, like, big mistakes can be made from either players where they could overextend. Here, Fedex could lose all of his halbs if he doesn't back away. Here, Kasva could lose all of his bomber cannons and trebs if he doesn't notice. So where are the players looking right now? Here, Fedex, clearly, he's not looking at his halbs because he's looked at this. And Kasva's actually paying attention. Guys, this castle 3 kills. This castle 3 kills. TC 12 kills. The halbs are going down. But a treb has gone down for Kasva. Ah! And there's bombard cannons for Fedex. He sees this. He fires. He kills. Nilly rejoices. How important will the stone that Fedex gave Kasva, or that Kasva has been mining here, be in this game? All of this stone, because he's got so much in the bank. Also, how important will it be that Vietnamese have some of the weakest castles in the game? They don't get masonry. They don't get hoardings. It's really not a great civilization to go castle drop with. And all of a sudden, there's skirms and pikes out of nowhere. All I'm waiting to see here from Kasva is his monks to convert that siege. He did get redemption earlier. He's probably waiting for them. No stone for Fedex. Oh, no. Oh, no. Fedex falling apart. Kasva with the micro. Fedex falling apart. Can his bomber cannon make it through there? Uh-oh. Treb for Fedex needs to pull away. The monks are ready to convert any siege. The castle here for Fedex. It was his master plan. And Kasva's repairing away. He takes out the castle. But here Kasva loses all of his monks to the castle fire. Ah! Ah! It's so nerve-wracking to be these players right now. And Kasva's castle goes down too. Okay, don't tell me Kasva's plan is now to convert the trebs. Honestly, it might work. I've seen crazier things in this series so far. Trebs have to roll away. The old men continue to follow, but Kasva continuing to push. As awkward as it has looked over on this side. Now you have no defensive castle in the middle of your eco, and Kasva has that. So Kasva, he doesn't really have to worry about a raid because this castle's up. Kasva also has 4 relics. This is Fedex's home map, guys. And, you know, the speed has been the real issue for Fedex here. And Kasva knew it. Kasva's like, I will apply pressure. He will gain a foothold, but I will just continue to throw army at him. And Byzantines have the cheaper skirms, the cheaper helps. You don't have to stress too much on the cost of your units. And he's just been able to continue to be annoying. And honestly, while Fedex defends here, I don't even know if that area is that valuable anymore. I think this is actually the valuable area of the map to push now if you're Kasva. And it's wide open. What a game, though. I mean, there's still stone. There's still gold for Fedex to find down here. He doesn't actually see the stone, which is going to hurt. He's got a moment now to breathe because we're not seeing that next big wave from Kasva. Kasva actually, like, he has archer ranges here, but he actually needs more archer ranges at home. And both players trying to expand farms, trying to fix their eco. It's a 30 army for both, and Fedex is 150 vills, and he's getting upgrades he didn't have before, which will really help. I think if Kasva gives Fedex time, Fedex will be okay. Like he can have 1 or 2 more massive pushes with the resources he has left. That's enough gold. This is enough food. This is enough wood. He's got the production buildings. And Kasva's kind of, you know, he's lacked a little bit of teeth in this attack. And just a couple of trebs here on their own. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is just, what is happening? Oh, man. Both players want it. Both players need it. But both players just can't seem to get it together, and Kasva loses all of his trebs. What in the world are we witnessing here? And maybe now you can push this castle. If you're Fedex. You have 4 trebs, 6 bomber cannons. I think you can push this castle now. Is Kasva going to be tempted to go Katas? Is he going to try Elite Cataphracts? He's maybe thinking I have 3 castles. I could go Cataphracts. He's adding the stables, so he probably won't then. It'll probably just be Hussar. It is Imp Skirmisher for Fedex. He sees the monks, and he'll go to kill the monks with his skirms. He packs up with the bomber cannons. Fedex holding on. Fedex getting some really valuable kills over the last couple minutes, guys. Let's look at res collected. It's been more for Fedex. I felt like up to this point he'd take more expensive losses, but I'm not so sure now because Kasva lost a lot of trebs. And Fedex has the time. And time is his best friend. Adding the production. Getting that big ball. Getting that mass ready. Getting paper money where he can bring in gold from his lumberjacks. Which is a nice tech now. It used to be pretty useless. It seems like it definitely... Because it doesn't cost gold anymore, or at least not a lot of gold. I don't think it costs gold now. Anyways, it's totally worth it. So as Kasva is getting pushed in what is his main base again, he is now going to try and push this flimsy little castle from Fedex. Apparently I was wrong. Vietnamese do get hoarding. Sorry. But Kasva's not exactly pushing the castle, actually, and Fedex is prepared with bomber cannons. Kasva's castle's already gone. Kasva's hoping that this stable switch leads to a big change in this game. And he's also building a castle here to potentially treb push this position. And if he gets stables up here and can raid this after this castle falls, bad for Fedex. But the timing on this, the momentum that Fedex has currently, and look at his positioning of his halps, just blocking him. It's really good. And then here you have Kasva still trying a push. And he goes in with the light cap, seeing the monks. Sees the onager. Kasva will lose the treb. He could lose 2. No, he doesn't lose the trebs yet. Does he have vills to repair? What? Bombard cannons? They won't go down just yet. Castle's down for Kasva. Kasva does not have a castle inside of his eco anymore. There is a very happy German man somewhere in northern Germany. He may be jumping. He may be singing. He's singing Fedex's name right now. Oh, God. Oh, great job from Fedex. Fedex is going to kill the monks. He's going to kill the monks so the bombard cannons stay blue. And Kasva's starting to lose his eco. He hasn't been able to push this castle. And Fedex is actually going to be able to push this area, I think. I mean, he's done enough just to kill the castles. Like, that was the biggest thing. He doesn't necessarily need to push now. Like, there is a risk at overextending. Because most likely, Kasva will stop pushing. And he will most likely just send everything he's got as that bomber cannon somehow converted. Kasva, kill the trap. No way. Kill the trap. Okay, well, he tried. Yeah, Kasva's got to send everything here now. This needs to be stopped. And, well, Hussar upgrades on the way for Kasva. He is still Byzantines. He can still make a lot of army. Fedex is made a treb on this side. Kasva also making a treb on this side. But, guys, just realize something. Fedex doesn't have gold. He has 1 relic. He does not have gold. And Kasva has 4 relics, and he's still mining gold. If this side goes down, if Fedex loses this area, this wood line, which is essentially his only way to get gold, I guess, is a problem. And then, you know, he still hasn't pushed this back, and he never knows what Kasva's going to send in, and he's still trying to push middle, but Kasva isn't exactly dead yet, because Kasva can field tons of skirmishers with the Byzantines. So yeah, paper money brings you gold, but this is your paper money. This is your money. These are your lumberjacks. And I think this castle's going to go down. Before the bombard cannons can make a difference, this castle goes down. And Kasva's not finished. This game's insane. Kasva converts a cannon and can now use that cannon to kill the other cannon? Yes. And Kasva's here with units. Kasva's got a treb here. Fedex loses his castle. The bombard cannon from Fedex will come out in a moment. And maybe, knowing how this game's going to go, he's probably going to end up taking out all these trebs somehow. But Kasva noticed it, and so did Fedex. So the micro is ridiculous. Back and forth, back and forth. The Hussars have now been house-walled out because they want to come into raid. And then here, Kasva's treb could go down. Here, Fedex could push. This game is ridiculous. And Kasva backs away with his trebs. What a grind, man. This whole series is like, you know, it feels scripted almost. You know, like, you know, some shows, there's like a set of, not rules that they make clear. You know how Game of Thrones, the first, like, you know, the good seasons, it's like, the cool thing about it was how people who are really important could die. And then, you know how, like, the last season or two, all the rules they set for Game of Thrones just kind of got broken. It feels like the rules of Age of Empires competitive have been broken with this series. Because, like, it feels like both players should have died. It's the reverse. Both players should have been dead many, many times, and yet somehow they keep coming back, and it just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like this should be a possibility. Kasva loses his castle. He has one castle. It is on the right-hand side. But his Hussars are diving for trebs. And here, you know, he's still got this castle. It's actually one castle for both. This is hilarious. There's like, they basically have no stone left. They have taken out so many castles from each other. Guys, Kasva's going to win this game. Kasva has great food count. He's Byzantines. He's raiding. He's killing villagers. He's going to find spots that Fedex can't keep up with. There is no easy way for Fedex to get counter damage in, from what I can see. Fedex's pop is insane, but can he actually raid? Not really over here. Not really through the middle right now. I guess he needs to take this out and go right through. But Kasva, he's going to stonewall up. Now, I'm really curious. What's the gold collected now? Paper money's really paid off in competition with the relics. Fedex has actually collected more gold and more wood and more food. And he has more kills. But Kasva just keeps tossing units in like it's nothing. And it is much cheaper for him, obviously. Fortified wall at the same freaking time. Fire the scriptwriters. It's too ridiculous. No one would watch this show. No one would watch it. They would turn it off, okay? This is too insane. Or everyone would watch it. Are you freaking kidding me? They're synced up with fortified wall tech? What? You got Trebs scared between two town centers? You got more walls in the same spot? This is ridiculous. Watch, Murder Holes is not synced, unfortunately, but it does make sense to toss that in here. What a crazy meat grinder game. Oh my god. The stone shaft mining is kind of interesting, but whatever. I mean, he doesn't know how long he's going to get this stone because Kasva keeps raiding him here. That's my concern for Fedex. He might have 70 on food, but he cannot do any counter damage. He cannot push. He is stunned. Kasva has made it really difficult, you know, for his opponent to get over to him. He's stonewalling this. I don't know where the villager went, but I guess, okay. Here is, I guess, a palisade wall, but he's got production buildings everywhere. The thing for Kasva would be, you don't want to lose these trebuchets. And that would be the same for Fedex, obviously. Fedex is waiting for an opportunity, and that opportunity might be taking out these trebuchets himself. You take out the trebs, and then you immediately push the position. Now, we have two-handed swordsman on the way for Fedex. If he has enough gold income to go champion, usually get pretty excited about that in a trash war. This is Byzantines we're talking about, though, and they can make cataphracts. And also, with archer ranges being out and researches being in, we could also always see hand cannons, which are already here, but they're not in a big enough number. It's actually interesting this gate still isn't completed. It's also interesting Fedex making another opening and more walls from Kasva. When did they run out of wood? Trebs back away for Kasva. He loses another one. And it's a pretty big deal here. I'd like to see Fedex get those light cav through these walls if he can cut through. You got to get some raids in here. Such a great job from Kasva to delay it. Kasva's killed 80 vills now. And what was it, 70 on food before? It is now 47 on food for Kasva. Fedex. However, Kasva lost another treb. He's getting guilds. That way, when you do sell resources, you get a little bit more in return. That is a good tech to get here. This game has just been obscene. And as the Onager tries to convert over the walls, Kasva has monks prepared to convert the Onager. Is this the moment for Fedex? Okay, this is what the scriptwriters would do. The scriptwriters would allow Fedex to take this castle out. And everyone would just complain and be like, why did Kasva lose his own trebs? No one would ever make that mistake. And then in the exact same moment, Fedex would take great losses elsewhere. I think like maybe on this side, but it's not happening. So this is more real. Hussars. Yep, Hussars made it through. Naturally, big losses are going to be taken on the wood line. Yeah, that's it. That castle's going to be down, and meaning Kasva has 0 castles. He can't make trebs anymore. What in the world? Fedex is down below 100 villagers soon. Fedex has lost a lot of eco. He's lost 115 villagers. It's 74 farmers for Kasva. Kasva's not finished. Again, Nili needs to avoid, or he needs there to not be a 3-0 in this series, and then he moves to the playoffs. So he's rooting for Fedex, and I'm sure he's losing his freaking mind. Both players, I'm sure they care a little bit about Nili, but they don't care. They care about Nili in like a friendly sense, but they just want to survive, right? Whoever wins this series ends up surviving and gets to play in TTL Gold again. Otherwise, you have to fight through the silver bracket, and it was competitive and tough for both. So, and there are a lot of motivated players who didn't make it, who would be very disappointed that they didn't make it, that are going to train harder next time. So, there's no guarantee you make it back. So, Kasva wins this game or the next game. Whoever wins the series, just point is, to repeat myself for the 16,000th time, you got to win the game. Or win the series, rather, and then you're still alive. 90 army for Fedex. Typically what happens here is this. You've got an insane army spike because you have the pop space. It's a 200 pop game. You lost 40 vills, so now you have 100 pop space for army. He's actually at 100 army. If Kasva can hold against that army count, if he can take decent enough trades not to die from it, then Kasva's going to be able to last so much longer because Kasva's been banking up more res. There's a lot of champions right now I'm noticing from Fedex in this army, and that champion army is really helpful. And Kasva, actually, he's just giving up this position, rewalling, dropping a castle in the back of his base as he's really hoping to hold this side. Really like the siege ram play. I think that's smart. And I really like the attention that Kasva continues to put on the middle. And how he continues to squeeze here through here with Hussars. I'd like to see Fedex maybe in house wall this, so that doesn't happen. Like, at least force the units to go this way. These are the moments for Fedex, right? You get the clear. Can you actually push? Can you get a good moment, a good position from this? And, well, bombard cannons move forward, and Kasva knew they would be there, and Kasva will get both of them. Remember, Kasva has relics. And down goes 2 bombard cannons. And Kasva also has siege ram. And Kasva also still has buildings to stream random units into that wood line. Interesting predicament we have as we see wood being sold now. As they are slowly chopping through the wood in the map. And the army count. Really looking better for Kasva. He's killing all the Haubs. He's got siege rams, which can soak up a lot of the attack, and still seeing a lot of red running through, but there's blue running through, and it's skirmishers! Skirmishers and trebs. Does Kasva see this? The relics! The freaking relics! Ah! Fedex is an arena player, so he might click that first thing. You can tell Kasva has no clue this is happening. But now Kasva's gonna lose Vils, which means his army pop is going to be at 100. It's his turn. Wow, he waltzed right in. Okay, Kasva notices, so all the stables are probably going to make Hussars here. There's no Halbs just yet. There's a couple going in. He's looking for important buildings to take out here. I guess he's just going to go for the TCs. Hussars from Kasva are back here. Hussars from Kasva are going into this wood line, unless Kasva did select all stable and is sending them all to his base. Which he is, and that's such a big error. And it's an error I recognize because I do that too sometimes. I'm just too lazy to fix it. Oh, God, Kasva, if these stables were sending the light cav to the wood line, you'd be killing dozens of villagers. But the pressure is on. And so all of his stables are sending the Hussars here. That's why a lot of players don't use select all stable, but you've got the Rams now taking the left side. Oh, man. And it looks like some of the Hussars have stopped. And the push must continue for Fedex, but has he ventured too far? It's 90 army for both. There's more on food for Fedex sort of kind of now, but he's not going to have as many production buildings, and he's sending his fills to the opening he's chopped for wood. I'm not seeing a real good wood line here for Fedex. And I think that Kasva will eventually clear this. Like, the Trebs look like sitting ducks right now. New TCs for Kasva to reboom. The siege ram can't be stopped. The combination of hand cannons and skirms has looked really strong. This whole group's here got like 100 kills. And Kasva's now going to expand into the farming eco as well. Is this the end for Fedex for this game? And then for this series? And then for Titans League Gold? Does he have another pushback in him? He's getting some kills himself, which, nice farms anyway, Kasva. It's not really something that we'd seen a lot of from him. It's not going to last much longer. He does save the Trebs. Siege Ram is so good in late game, guys. It is so good, because trash units do not kill Rams that quickly. And it just soaks up all the skirm fire, all the halb attack. It takes out buildings way faster than Trebs and more efficiently than Trebs. Oh, boy. Guys, what if Kasva, what if Fedex loses hope? Like, he knows that he's out? And that the last game, I mean, it gives him 20 bucks, and it gives him pride, all those things I'm sure he'll fight for, but what if his performance drops in the final game? And what if Kasva gets the 3-0 to get to the playoffs? It'd be wild. This also isn't over yet. This isn't over yet. We've seen greater comebacks before, and Fedex's imp skirms have found the hand cannons. And hold up, folks. Even though Kasva's killed 200 villagers, and is about to ram down a Treb, and another Treb, maybe. Even though that's happening, Kasva also took some losses there as well, and both players might need time to stabilize. The Trebs are coming home. Look at the military mini-map. Look where all the military is. Look at the amount of army that is left over in Kasva's base from that. And, like, in all these random spots. Look at the direction units are going. But these are the finds you need. And look at all the blue for Fedex. It's all in the middle of his base. This is like a team who's the underdog in like football or soccer or whatever, trying to hold out for penalty kicks right now. That's all 11 players are behind the ball. No one's on offense. Everyone's on defense. We can win in penalties. Our goalie's better. Oh no. That's rough. And it just allows Kasva again to dictate the pace of the game. He's still got 4 relics bringing him gold. And forget paper money for the gold income. You need to have wood for skirms and halps. It's crucial. Now, this group of skirms is insane. So that's good. Kasva rewalled this. Building a mill here so these guys go to farms. And Fedex is up to 180 pop. This game is not over yet. 1 hour and 20 minutes. What did I say? 2.5 hours with a bunch of skirms? I'm not so sure, though, guys. It really feels like Fedex almost broke there and that he's still struggling. I just don't think he has it. Kasva made it messy and early feudal. Made it messy and early imp. He never lost this position once. He's always had it, and then he never lost this position. And Fedex decided to go mid, which was pretty freaking epic. Kasva was able to defend from it, despite losing like 5 castles as Byzantines this game. But when you think late game, you think how many corners of the map do you have locked now? You think about production building location, and you think about castle numbers. All of which Kasva's ahead. Kasva has more castles. Kasva has more production buildings. He has more space on the map, and he's got 3 corners controlled. So you maybe have one more big push from Fedex, and it has to hit somewhere where it really hurts Kasva. And anytime you move forward, Kasva will just hit you on the sides, and then you feel you have to react, and you're like, no, this isn't the time. This isn't the time. I can't push yet. This isn't my moment. This game, I mean, add this to the long list of losses for poor Fedex in Titans League, where he was in positions where he could possibly win. It is really crazy. I feel bad for him having watched the Dark series and now having seen this series. I mean, this game wouldn't even hurt that much as he gets some nice quick walls down had he been able to win the previous one. Like, the previous one in this series was really painful. And pointy boys and slingy boys just going to town. Fedex's army seems to be doing pretty good. He's still holding on. Kasva, he's got 70 on food, though, which should give him more potential to be able to produce units. He's also got just as much on wood currently. And Fedex is chopping wood here. So I think this area is important for Kasva to be able to raid. Both players have crossed 1,000 kills now. This is an insane game. Where's Kasva getting wood? So he was chopping wood here, which I think is really smart in case you lose the position. But he's chopping wood here, and here, and here. I mean, Kasva's almost out in those areas. Obviously, he's still got this, but the middle chunk of wood is more significant, you could argue. But that's where Kasva's going now. And even though champions kind of take good trades against the Halbs, you have a couple hand cannons and then some hustlers in the mix, and then Kasva's able to take this area back. I actually think this is where we see the GG. I think there will be red advancing in that can't be stopped in 2 areas. And I'm sure Fedex has felt like this is a really tough position to come back from for a while. His pop has been lower, but I think this might be the moment for Fedex where he calls it. This is so awkward. This is awkward. And then you see this advancing in at the same exact time. And I think Kasva's finally going to get him to tap. He just had to kill 250, maybe 60, maybe 70 by the time this raid finishes villagers to get Fedex to finish. It means Kasva's 1 win away from headed to the playoffs, guys. This guy does not die. He falls behind. He falls behind, but he will come back. Freaking Kasva, man. Crazy fighter spirit. Yep, the Rams making progress on the houses. Not seeing any efficient wood choppers now for Fedex. More villagers being created. I'm sure idle villagers are being sent to wood. And the GG's called. Fedex eliminated from Titans League. That much is confirmed. The main thing we decide is who gets that 3rd place spot. Will it be Kasva or will it be Nilly? Sheesh. Oh, man. I asked Nilly before the series. I said, Nilly, what's your prediction? And he said 2-1 Kasva. So his prediction's still possible, but I'm pretty sure he was expecting Fedex to get a win on his home map. And now it's like, you kind of lost some spirit, possibly, if you're Fedex. But, you know, forgetting the whole group stage and the results for just a moment, what an epic game. What an epic game, man. That was just so back and forth. And again, the way I describe this is you can see the emotions and you can see the stakes in it. It's not a ranked game, right? It's like, no, this is for something. And you can tell by some of the way certain engagements were taken, and you can feel the tension. Even though it's the same game, it's the same map as people might play in ranked, you could just feel the tension and feel the difference in the moment. Sure, it feels great to win those. Sure, it feels horrible to lose, especially when that means you're then knocked out of this whole group. But Kasva did the right thing. He had good vision. I loved so many of the plays we saw in this game. I loved Kasva getting the relics early. I love the stone walls. I love the fortified walls. Kind of funny. Fedex got fortified wall. He never really had the walls. I felt like the production buildings on both sides was really solid from Kasva. And that was eventually what did Fedex in. But Fedex's initial thinking of pushing middle wasn't necessarily bad. And like, that really surprised Kasva. Kasva lost multiple castles. Kasva lost tons of castles. Like, what was the amount of castles in this game? There should be a stat here, right? Okay, total castles for Kasva 6. Total castles for Fedex is 3. I thought it would have been more than that. But still, how many times do you see a game where 9 castles were placed and 1 is still standing at the end of the game? That was insane. It just shows you how difficult it was for players to hold their positions at times. Total villagers throughout that entire game, 340 for Fedex. Obviously, incredible from Kasva to kill as many as he did, but great job from Fedex to continue to be able to stabilize. So let's see what Fedex wants to do here. See if he, it's kind of potential to ruin Kasva's day or ruin Nili's day. We'll see what he does in game 3. All right, so game 3. Fedex, unfortunately, out of Titans League Gold. Of course, next time we have another season, Fedex could always try and qualify through Silver, and I think he's shown how good he is. Let's see what he can make happen here. But if Kasva wins this game, he moves from 3rd place. He had pretty significant odds to possibly end up in 6th place when the day started. Everyone felt like the players were so close here, it would be tough for a 3-0 to happen. But if that does happen, Kasva 3rd, Nili 4th, Fedex obviously still relegated. Kasva's gone for the Aztecs, which he did against Nili in the set where Nili won. I think it was that series. I forget. But anyways, he's gone Aztecs before. Other players have gone for it. And Fedex has gone for the Mongols. And Fedex is out here to lane. So he's thinking, this has not gone well for me the longer games go. I now want to finish games quickly. And Kasva's got his eagle looking for his boars right now, I'm sure. Because this one's on the back. Usually you're not going to lose that. He's looking. Oh my god. Fedex is so unlucky. Does he notice it? Does he go back for it? Well, he sees that one. Now he has to make a decision, and I think he noticed that, but so did Kasva. I really think Kasva needs to be taking that one. I think you need to take it against Mongols as early as possible. But he has chosen not to do it, and Fedex has an opportunity, and Fedex is going to try and take this bad boy. Express shipping overnight. It may not be free. He's lost some scout HP, but that's not too expensive. And he's hoping to take this boar home. All right, so here we go. Got to make sure to get your boars on time around the holidays, guys. And oh god, this is Gaia Vision. That was really close from leaving his point of view. And Kasva is never letting this boar go. He is, especially at a choke point, he's going to block this thing. Now, what gets difficult here is being able to manage everything else in the game. And just like that, Fedex looks at his base to drop a house or whatever he did, and the boar goes back. That was very well played from Kasva. And of course, you see the importance of the timing with the lane. You got to find it quick. You have to steal it before the player knows where the boars are and before they potentially have their eagle in position. And that's a big reason you pick Mongols right there. Just the laming aspect. The hunt bonus for yourself, but the scout bonus to steal. So, this is a pretty big deal now that Kasva is going to have all of his resources. And potentially Fedex will not. Fedex doesn't see his sheep. And Fedex doesn't see these sheep either. And Kasva's just going to follow the guy. He's like, all right, take me to your sheep. Take me to your sheeple. Get it? No. Okay. Well, good from Fedex. He gets the sheep there. Again, he still benefits from the hunt he's brought in from both his boars. He did see those. I think Fedex will likely go for some type of scout build, but as I say it, he's got 4 on wood, so Kasva might see that and think a little bit more about it. He should be checking. If he noticed it was 4 on wood, he might actually be frightened of some type of barracks play. And normally, if you're not laming, you would have pushed in all these deer already, which would be great for you, but you're hoping to steal resources from the enemy. Now he's just pushing in his first deer, but still good to do this, I think. Behind all this for Kasva, he also didn't push that many deer, so. This is not Fedex playing T90, it's our hippo friend. Nilly logged on to Fedex's account. He's like, let me do it. Nah, Fedex, this is still a really strong opening. It's just not the devastating damage he was hoping to do with the lame. Because lames can end games. It's a nice little motto. Lame, end the game. It's not the same. Something, oh god, there's no food underneath the TC. He doesn't have the sheep. Look at Kasva. Kasva knows the importance of those deer, and so he's just happily just sat there. He scouted the berries. He scouted the wood line. He also has way less pressure on himself right now because he knows he's safe. And now the rest is just gravy, right? The rest is just, you know, things to be excited about and prepare for if you make it into the playoffs. And villagers come over to maybe take the hunt, and Kasva sees it and is just trying to push the deer. Well, he pushes it towards him. But if he looks, he will actually see the sheep, and he can take the sheep away. The food was needed there. This is not something Fedex would have normally wanted to do, but being down sheep, that's just a product of going for the lame. All right, Fedex. It's the feudal age. We'll add the stable. I think he will struggle for long-term scout production, but he can at least make a scout or two and gain some momentum from that. He'll build the lumber camp there. So it's 2 lumber camps. He'll need to farm. A similar thing happened to him in his round against Dark, I think, where he didn't really have the best of builds, and he went for like 2 or 3 scouts, didn't find damage, and then from there, the Eco kind of suffered due to lack of farming, so at least he got that sheep. Wow, Kasva is just thinking, I just need to defend myself in early feudal, and then I'm amazing here. So he is walling up, trying to recreate the game that he just had in the previous one with all the palisade walls on hideout. And guys, when someone has a weak early scout, you see this a lot more because there's not as much potency in the starting scout's attack, so you won't see the starting scout active here. The starting scout will wait. Feel like there could be a hole there, but it looks like it should be walled, and Kasva going to be completely walled. Such smart play from him. It's not fancy. It doesn't get you excited. It doesn't get you out of your seat, but it's smart. And he's going to go eventually into like archers, I guess. But right now, he's not even really on gold. Fedex goes, he was expecting archers, so he went for an early range to go for skirms. Can use the skirms against the spears as well. Kasva still just playing low-risk Age of Empires here. And Fedex, I think you just have to play open. And you have to hope that you can catch Kasva out when Kasva moves out here. You have to hope that Kasva does move out here. Because you don't really have anything to break him. If you had archers with scouts, you're like really applying a lot of pressure. But Kasva's just, I'll just take my deer. A villager can just come over here and repair this or build behind it. And due to there being no archers, that should not be an issue for Kasva. He is chilling. Can you check res what walling means? Can you check res what walling means? You want to see what the resources collected looks like? I can show you that. But Fedex has still collected more. And Fedex, is he going to tree hop? He's going to tree hop. Bring the scouts. Bring the scouts, baby. Can you do it on these trees? He can do it! He can do it! He chops the tree! And he's now in! The tree hop to save Nilly! The tree hop to ruin Kasva's chances of going to the playoffs, and here comes Fedex And he's like, you can't hide from me now, fool. You should have placed 2 palisades and not used the tree as part of your wall. Wow. Well, this could get bad for Fedex still because he could be trapped. What are you? What the? What the? What the? What the? I don't know what to think right now. Like, your villagers are trapped, right? If you're gonna leave, you gotta leave with everything, bro. These villagers. Don't forget about your villagers. Fedex. Fedex. What has happened? What has happened? I was so high, and now I'm so low. Oh, no. Oh, man. This is so sad. I don't know how to really describe it. It could have been such an epic moment. And honestly, the sad thing is he didn't really need all the vills in the tower. Realistically, I think what he needed was, as Fedex is just going to try and wall in his vill here. I mean, it might work because the scouts might break in, but no. I think what he needed there is he just needed the army to be in. Like, the tower was cherry on top if you build it outside or something, but... yeah. I mean, the positive here is he can make another tower, and Kasva's still been incredibly defensive. But I think Kasva, upon seeing this, he just rushes it down and deletes his walls. Yeah, he just rush it down. Because there's too many spears for this to be a good engagement. And it'll still be messy, but I'm not sure the tower stays up. And if Kasva mixes in a few eagles, could maybe ease his way towards the next stage. But, you know, all that said... Now, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, tower goes down. Kasva has done an excellent job to deal with this. Take nothing away from that. It could have been in a worse position, obviously, but poor Fedex just hasn't been his day. And as long as Kasva just mixes in a couple more eagles, gets an armor upgrade or 2, as long as he just keeps producing out of his range, his barracks, I think he can take this game. But let's see what the micro's like. The scouts are very weak for Fedex now. That's the concern. And oh boy. I mean, Fedex has got to continue to fight here. You've got to get more scouts on the field. You have to hope that you can use your skirms against the spears and that the scouts can kill everything else. There's still potential. He's now getting attacked by a wolf. The game hates him, man. There's been some unfortunate things, but maybe some things that could have been within his control as well. Idle TC time has been really good for both. Like, I honestly, it's been such a scrappy game again. I'm surprised that they've both done such a good job at that. But, again, it's the eagle number. If it gets up to, like, 4 in Feudal Age with armor, it can get really tricky here for Fedex to deal with this. He's still trying with his skirms. And Kasva, he's just using his own skirmishers to kill the skirms from Fedex. And do we see a GG call here? Because now he doesn't have any way to kill the spears. The scouts can't engage. The villagers are weak and exposed. Do we see it? He's got 500 stone in feudal. He's going to fall back for now. Freaking Kasva, man. Fedex is like, I'm still fighting. All right, the stone won't do anything for me now. And he sells it all just to buy some res, just to get more army on the field. But honestly, guys, I think for Kasva, he doesn't have to push forward now, but he really should. I think he's got the walls down. He'll stabilize his eco. He'll look towards Castle Age. This army cannot be stopped right now, and it would force Fedex into a bunch of defensive measures like towers. You can tell Kasva feels like, all right, I don't have to do anything crazy right now, especially if that continues to happen. So he just wants castle. Fedex is still going to try. Truthfully, he should have no chance now. With the way the matchup works and having lost the villagers and lost some of these fights, this should be no way back. And I've been 3-0'd a couple times over the past year, right? And you just think, oh, game number 1. Oh, why didn't I make monks faster? Oh, game number 2. Why didn't I treb down the monastery? Just all the things you coulda, woulda, shoulda done over the past, like, 2 hours are just, like, sitting there in your brain. as you just look at your screen expecting to die. And it's not fun. But, you know, like, on the flip side of that, having crazy comeback victories, which you could argue every single one of Kasva's games, except for maybe this one was, feels very, very good. And is very motivating, is very good for their careers. And I feel like Kasva's only going to get better as he continues to play these, because I feel like his openings have actually been weak. Like, his performance itself isn't the issue. I think it's the initial strategy with Kasva, which may be the issue. And if he does end up in the playoffs here, which I feel like he will, upon reaching Castle Age and taking the fight, then whoever's in second place, they have to make sure they finish off this Kasva guy. Because if he's not dead, he will come back to haunt you. But, oh man, that... when he chopped the tree, I really thought we were going to be in for something special. But then he left, and Kasva was like, oh, I guess I just re-wall it then. You can't say Fedex didn't try, guys. He went forward aggressively with the lane, even though he was already going to be relegated. He went all in with the tree chop, the tower, the skirms, the scouts. But yeah, right now, he's going to try Man-at-Arms to counter the Eagles. And I'm just concerned he doesn't have enough to be able to make it happen. Like, I think he can stay alive with Man-at-Arms, possibly. But you can't win the game with this. Not against the Aztecs, who can just get all the relics on the map. And obviously after losing quite a few villagers here. Very well played here from Kasva. He probably couldn't believe his eyes when he saw that the scouts left. He was like, oh. Okay. He sees the Man-at-Arms now. Kasva takes the fight anyways. He's actually over here as well. 3 is better than 1. Longsword upgrade on the way, but a couple Man-at-Arms have gone down now. Kasva just passing underneath the town center. And when he was over here before, he saw the gold. So I'm sure that's what he's looking for. And Fedex has the quick wall. And was doing the wood line, which is still open on the backside. And the gold's getting hit. And this is all very painful and very sad for Fedex, who I feel really bad for. This is going to sound like a slight. This is going to sound like it's a negative for him. I guess it depends on how you look at it, but Fedex was ahead in more games that he lost than any other player that's going to be relegated. Fedex was closer to playoffs, closer to, you know, like wins than any other player. Like with other players, they lost and it was just like, okay, well, they just got outplayed. But I didn't feel like Fedex really was getting outplayed. I think he just kind of played himself at times. And Fedex gets 3-0'd. We'll check the math, but that should send Kasva to the playoffs in a couple days' time. And obviously does send Fedex out of the group. So, take a quick look at the odds, because that's what everyone wants to see. Just confirm it. Make sure there was no mistakes. Coming into this, Nilly had a 75% chance of third place in playoffs. The only result that he needed to avoid, or that, you know, he couldn't have happened, was a 3-0. And Kasva wins 1. Kasva wins 2. And Kasva then wins 3, thus surpassing Nilly in the final moments of this group. And Kasva will go into the playoffs. Nilly, though, last season he was relegated in the final days. This season, he was denied going to the playoffs in the final days, which is a step up because he was 5th place and relegated and had to fight back. So, Nilly, my friend, at least you could take some positives in that, right? You're going to be back again and ready to show people what you're made of. Crazy stuff from Kasva. And a crazy group. 7-6-5-4. Fedex, dude, Fedex could have had like 7 or 8 wins himself. Absolutely. Games from this series, games from the Dark series, games from... He took a win off of MBL. 2 people beat MBL. I don't even remember who, to be honest with you. How did MBL lose twice? MBL lost 1 game to Fedex. I remember that. But yeah, Fedex anyways played so good. But Fedex and Rapard, if they want to get back, then they will have to fight through silver next time around. And so do we know the situation in C yet? We don't actually know the situation in C right now. But it's looking like it will likely be... Oh, we do actually know what it looks like. So it will be Dragon Star in C up against Kasva. And then it will be Slam up against Dark. So we have, with those results, then we have decided, we know what the playoffs are going to look like. I think the one thing to decide C is the situation between Kingston, Sito at this point. Yes, we did have the Overtake and Stark series earlier. I'm not going to update that now, but yeah. Basically, this Kingston Sito series decides who is first and who is fourth, which is like really, really wild. So, great stuff. And, you know, just to extend a further congratulations to Kasva. Kasva, he got promoted from silver, came up to gold. Now he's going to the playoffs. That's a pretty sick result. I don't think there's many other players that can say that at the moment.